Hello, and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. We're going to talk about whether XRP is still worth investing in 2020. Now, back in 2017, the answer was obviously yes. But 2020, is it really still worth investing in? A lot of the predictions by just the Ripple CEOs like Brad Garlinghouse haven't actually played out. On the plus side, it is being used by MoneyGram. On the minus side, there aren't any banks using it yet. However, Interbank Peru has actually committed to using XRP in the future, and I believe that will come on sometime in 2020. SBI has also said it will integrate XRP into its app sometime in the future for certain remittance purposes. I've actually taken a look at the document, and they do actually transfer about cross-border about $2.7 billion US per year on that app. So there is significant, well, not on the app, but in that one service they're planning to actually add XRP to. So there is some volume coming up. And plus, we can't deny, like I said, the MoneyGram volume and a couple of other small things that actually use XRP for international remittances, like Mercury FX, although that is very, very small compared to MoneyGram. So there are definitely a lot of upsides and a lot of downsides to XRP. Realistically, like any other crypto, there isn't really a bottom price for XRP. You can actually see that with Bitcoin movement. As Bitcoin moves up, it moves up. As Bitcoin moves down, it moves down. So the actual utility price isn't anywhere near the price right now. Like 95, 99% of it's still speculation. So if it does drop, it still has an ability to drop. Plus, yes, there is still some escrow sales, but that has gone down. Although in the last 2 days, they have released a couple hundred million coins into Chris Larson's private account. But that's otherwise. So is it actually worth buying? For me, I don't really see XRP making a move in the next few months unless Bitcoin goes up. So if you're looking for a lot of ROI in the next 6 months to 1 year, I would say no. XRP is actually probably not the coin you want to look at. You're going to want to look at smaller coins if you want that ROI. If you look at the coins that have come up, they've all been like really small cap coins that have become larger cap. You're looking at Thor coin, which you can't really compare to anything else because it's essentially traded on one exchange and there's like a total supply of like 80,000 of them right now. So it's probably like two guys controlling it and then basically just wash trading on Crex24. So but you would be extremely, extremely lucky for Thor coin if you had actually bought in right before it went from like 30 cents to like $1,000. All right, but you're probably not going to get something like that with XRP or any top 10 currency. So for those kind of gigantic gains, you're going to need to go down the list. You're going to need to go down like way down the list to something like something like Thorcoin, which was unknown before it made its gigantic jump up. You have something like Igrita, which jumped 80x. Once again, it was a very, very small coin, and then it basically jumped massively into the top 20. It's since has dumped then. Or something like Mindle, which just jumped massively. You're going to have to pick these like small coins, maybe with some partnerships, maybe with some FOMO power to get that kind of rise. Even Casino Coin lately, which isn't on the XRP ledger, but is basically run off a copy of the XRP ledger essentially, went from 3 Satoshi to 17 Satoshi lately, a 5x, within a very short amount of time. Something that, unless there's an overall altcoin bull run, larger cap coins simply cannot do. Casino Coin, Mindle, Thor Coin, Igrita, all these things came up and then some of them dropped straight down, some of them maintained somehow. So you're not going to see that from like a top 10, top 20 coin. It's not like some coin's going to go from 500 million to like 500 billion that fast. You're looking at coins probably in the millions or possibly tens of millions range to go into that hundreds of millions of range. That's where I see the most action and the most ROI. So if you're wanting extreme ROI in the next 6 months to a year, XRP is probably not where you want to look. In fact, the top 15, you're going to want to look outside of that. Because like I said, all the coins that have actually gotten the massive ROI are started outside the top 15, top 20, and rose up into it. Now, coins like Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, they actually had their rise back in 2017, where they actually did that. They actually rose from maybe a couple hundred million, maybe like tens of millions or possibly hundreds of millions in market cap into billions in market cap. And since then, they really haven't done anything. It's stabilized down a little bit because it takes a lot of, because once you do that and you get more exchanges to list your coin, there's more liquidity. Essentially, like, it's easy for people to buy in, but it's also very easy for people to sell out. And you can also go between the exchanges pretty carefully, so pretty easily. So it's very hard for one exchange to pump a coin up, much like what happened to a lot of those coins. It also takes a lot more money to pump it up and pump it down. That's why you see like the slow retrace of a lot of these coins happened over 2 years and not overnight. So if you're looking, once again, if you are looking for lots of ROI profit in the next 6 months to a year, you probably want to look at a smaller coin because XRP is not going to get you those kind of profits. However, if you're looking for a gradual increase over, say, the next 5 or 6 years, XRP may be the investment you want to take. Even though it's not going to take over the world or anything, it does have a good chance of processing several $billion of transactions per day just on the remittance market. The remittance market alone is growing to $3.5 billion a day. And there's also like business transfers as well. Derivatives are another thing altogether, and I really don't think XRP or any kind of remittance or any kind of like remittance cryptocurrency is really going to touch that market in a very, very long time. Most derivatives, people keep talking about 1 quadrillion, but the actual settled value of all derivatives is only around 12 trillion. And they don't really need to be like swapped. A lot of them don't really need to be swapped all that often. It's kind of a murky field. And I think most people just assume that entire number is going to be taken over by whatever crypto they're investing in without really understanding what derivatives are or how that market actually works. And that market is probably going to be untouched for quite some time. So you got basically like business payments. You have business payments and you have remittance payments. Now, business payments are the bigger thing, but that's not likely to be taken over by all of one coin. I mean, you have like certain industry coins that are going to take part of that market too. For instance, VeChain is working with San Marino, like we just said, to actually do their supply chain finance cross-border through that. Technically, like if certain companies like Toyota or BMW are already using a certain system in cryptocurrency for other purposes, they can just use that token to actually transfer value too. So you can basically use anything to transfer value. But for companies that are just wanting to transfer money straight up through, they might use XRP in the future. Therefore, it's possible for XRP maybe to transfer. I think it's possible for XRP to transfer maybe tens of billions of dollars a day in volume over the next over maybe in like 5 years or so. You'll get to that point in volume, and at that point, I do think that you can achieve a price of several dollars, single-digit dollars. Maybe in a bull run, you would achieve some like double-digit dollars. So, and I do think XRP is a much safer investment than the smaller coins, because the smaller coins, even like Casino Coin, it has 100x potential, but it also has massive flop potential. Same thing with a lot of the smaller coins that maybe are like below 50 and could actually rise up suddenly into the top 20, but they could also sink down into the thousands and become worthless. XRP, for its part, I don't think it can become worthless. I do think in the future it will grow, and I do think like some remittance providers as well as some business payments providers will find a use case for it. So it will actually go up, in the single-digit dollars, perhaps even in the lower double-digit dollars within the next 5 to 6 years. So, and yes, that is kind of a long-term investment for anything except for retirement funds. But taking the fact that it's like 18 cents right now, you're still getting 20-25x within the next 5 or 6 years. Maybe even 50x like on a bull run, maybe 100x on a bull run. And I think that's good enough for you to actually make an investment in XRP. So yes, part of the portfolio should be in a coin like that because XRP has that safety value, and it's also got more potential to grow than Bitcoin itself. And I'm talking about BTC, not BSV, because BSV is garbage. But I think XRP can actually have that safety value and have a much higher potential ROI than Bitcoin. I do think Bitcoin will grow too, but I think XRP and Ethereum will actually grow faster. So if you like that middle ground of investment where you have decent amount of potential, not like sky high potential, like some of the really small coins that could rise up, but you also want that safety of, hey, it's a major coin, it already has partnerships, and it already has some utility and use case right now. That's where you're going to find like your sweet spot in XRP, where you might not have the 1000x potential, but you still have like, 20, 30, 40x potential, but you don't actually have a huge amount of risk that goes with it in crypto terms. So the risk to reward ratio for XRP for the long term for me is still a buy. It's not nearly as strong of a buy as, some of the hype channels make it out to be. But then like 95% of that news is like fake. So if you base it on hype news, anything is a buy. I mean, people have mentioned Tom Lee and Tim Draper as like they're really bullish on XRP, but Tom Lee and Tim Draper also believe that Bitcoin is going to be 250,000 within like 2 or 3 years. So they're essentially bullish on everything you put up for them to see. So that's really not that much evidence. But if you just take a look at the partnerships they have made and the utility case they are starting to prove, you can see the potential for it to go to $5, $6, $7. And I think like during the next bull run, whenever that is, it could be at the end of 2021, could be sooner. When Bitcoin crests 40, 50,000 or higher, I think XRP will make to like $7, $8. And at that point, you will probably want to sell a lot of your holdings just to cash in, because you don't want to sit there and wait for $500. Because if you do that, what's going to happen is Bitcoin's going to crest, and then XRP is going to crest, and they're going to fall 90% again. 80, 90% again, and you'll be left with like 50, 60 cent XRP when you could have sold at $7 or $8. This has happened more than once, actually. If you actually look at XRP's price really early on, it debuted in early 2013, late 2012, and late 2013, it actually all of a sudden went up to 5 cents and then dropped back down to half a cent when the MT Gox thing happened. Same thing in 2017, rose up to all the way to $3 and then drop back down to now what it's 19 cents. So it's very, very likely to happen again. When you actually want to sell is probably when you see Bitcoin crest and then XRP starting to crest. When XRP starts to crest, you want to sell right then because you don't want to be holding all the way down back to 19 cents like this time. Even if you had sold partway on the way up or on the first crest and not the second crest, I believe the first crest, on the last XRP rise was like $1.37. Even if you had sold at $1.37 and missed the $3, you would be a lot better off than if you just held on all the way down to 19 cents or 30 cents or something. So be sure to sell on the right time tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Be sure to sell at the right time on the next bull run when it actually comes. But as for the long-term view of XRP, I believe it's a good investment if you're looking for that sweet spot between having a good bit of buffer from risk from the rest of the crazy crypto world, because it does have the partnerships, and having better ROI than Bitcoin, but not like the insane ROI of some of the smaller currencies. If you are willing to live with 20, 30, maybe 40x profits in the next 5 years or so from XRP, from an investment, and have that investment have some safety value, then XRP might actually be the investment for you. Won't get the 1000x, but you're much more safe than investing in like Casino Coin or in Solar even, two coins that I actually do believe in, but they have a much higher risk quotient. So that is the news for today. That is my episode for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.